Display capture, that's right. Okay, so quickly going over it. They buffed the tanks a bit, a very little bit. It's really insignificant because tanks will still be losing in fights. Now the Raven might actually be interesting because they'll be more tanky. The only place I can really see benefiting from this is maybe Colony with his big drop, and Shipmaster with his displaced shenanigans. Scorpion, building damage increased by 5%. We literally won't notice that, and it's slightly cheaper, but it will still lose in the fights, so pointless. Grizzly is actually a decent unit, so in that case, that's not a bad thing. It's made cheaper. I hope they made the drop cheaper, man. It's a bit expensive. It's difficult to get there these days with Forge. What is this? Cyclops HP increased by 10%. Much needed, of course. Cyclops hasn't been doing that job properly lately. Should help against leader powers, nuking him as well. So maybe UNSC is back in some regards for that, but I still don't see it. Like, Rangers are just so fucking good. They kind of just block UNSC out of the mid game, and in the early game, you kind of have to rely on Marine stuff, and then we got the buffs to the cloaked grunts, which just make them way too good against UNSC in general. Jackrabbit DPS increased by 5%. That should be useful. I'm not sure if it's enough, and they're more accurate, so we'll see how that goes. I'm actually tempted to try out some Jackrabbit builds today. Maybe we can transition from that into something tier 2. Okay, so the Banished Reaver got fixed with its pew pew gun. That's great because it was heavily overperforming against stuff like Hunters and Cyclops. Rest doesn't really matter too much, but basically Mass Reaver was just way too fucking good because it was beating ground targets, and I'm really glad they fixed that. These are big changes, so should be noticeable. Power's glassing was weakened. Longer cooldown, so it's not as much of a continuous army vibe anymore. It will be also harder to align it with combo powers like displacement. Speed normalized at each tier. Okay, so they basically slowed down tier 3. Yeah, that's good. Tier 3 was a bit difficult to avoid. Center damage was reduced. Like that's the very unit you're hitting. The one unit you're hitting. That's what it really matters for. Oh, sorry, that's the ring radius, not the ring damage. What? Yeah, they reduced the radius. And this is the damage reduction. Okay, so it's like a 10% reduction, basically, to the damage. Then the countermeasure brute mines won't place a slower stun. Basically balances the unit. HW should be fair again. Except for the Chosen. I think Chosen is a bit too good, but then again, so many things are too good in the game that it kind of just makes it alright. Doesn't mean that we have to like how it is. Goliath has the light rush type, which means that scouts will be dealing a lot more damage against them. Everything else, roughly the same. Hunter Captain would occasionally not damage units with its base weapon. Yep, that's a good fix. Maybe you can actually open Hunter Captain with this. Arbiter had the stacking of Conduit of Rage changed, so it would only redo the 10-second duration every time you recast something instead of additively stacking up the durations. That's great. Then the damage buff was reduced quite heavily. Pretty much cut in half for the first tier, holy shit. And then it keeps climbing and climbing. Arbiter was still really good, but not as good. Elite Spirit Assault is now a tier 4 power, and Stasis gets put on tier 3. I'll be happy to go Phantoms every game at tier 3 on the leader wheel. And then just pick up the Elites. Or maybe there's some builds with Stasis, but I just don't see it. It's not that useful. You can kind of like catch half an army and then kill the other half, but Yep. Heavy grunts are not correctly affected by logistics. That's good. Ambush mines, overall damage reduced to mirror Lotus mine damage. That should be much more fair. You could actually kill those things and not take a lot of damage. And, well, they don't blow up an entire army by themselves. Verdus. Oh yeah, the logistics upgrade on the Verdus Scarab. Sure. And oh, they're just saying it twice. Okay. So the big problem with this is that they are not touching Pavium, so this entire stream is going to be about that, I think, except for trying the Jackrabbits, which I'm really excited for. Everything else honestly doesn't matter too much. Shipmaster, Arbiter, Pavium, still top leaders. I'm not sure in what order. We'll find out about it. But Shipmaster wasn't reliant on Beam. How are Rabbits now? We'll see. That's the first thing I want to try. So let's do it.